Hey guys, and thanks for tuning in. So today I'm going to answer a couple of questions. Um, I think I'm going to answer a lot of questions. So there were several questions asked by an individual, and the first question is, what was my daily routine like? So remember in one of the videos, I said, you're kind of like waiting in the morning for the doors to be open, and the doors were open every morning at 7:30. At 7:30, when the doors are open, the first thing you do is go to breakfast, because at breakfast, that's where you get your lunch. And if you don't go to breakfast, then you get no lunch. Breakfast was quite decent, not so bad. So most of the time, I did go to breakfast. If there's always something at breakfast you could use to save for your lunch, and there's always something in your lunch you might just need. So I would always, not always, sometimes go to breakfast. And then after breakfast, you go back to your dorm and you get ready for work or school or whatever it is that your day consists of. Most of us, a lot of the women had jobs, and the job consists of construction worker, or roofer, or gardener, or yard cleaner, or kitchen helper, or clerical work, or different jobs, or teacher, or the prison is ran by the inmates. So there's lots of jobs. There's lots of work to be done. If you're not working, then you're going to school. And it's your option. You can decide on what it is that you want to do. You can go to school. You can go to school for clerical, or you can go to school for your GED, or you can go to school for your degree. You can go to school for office procedures. Also, there's a warehouse where you can work sewing, and they make uniforms for the fire department in California. So every day, I think normally you have to be to work at between 8 and 8:30. So some of the times for a few months I did work. I did work in sewing, and you do get paid for working. So I worked in sewing, and I already knew how to sew, but yeah, they teach you how to sew, and that was kind of fun because we were back there making stuff that we needed for our rooms. So I was back there making purses, and I was making just little knickknacks to hang stuff in inside my room. So that was funny. I also made like curtains. So that was fun. But the next question is, was there a buzzer or something that woke you up? No, there's not anything that wakes you up. If you're dead asleep, when that door opens, that wakes you up. But most of us had alarms that, okay, we set them to wake us up, or my body just wakes me up early every morning anyway, right? So there's nothing that wakes you up. You kind of just wake up, the door opens, you get up and jump up and take your shower and go. Next question, did the guards bark out orders at you all the time? Oh my God. So you have to picture the prison, because I was in a low-level prison eventually. And in the low-level prison, you know what? It looks like a college dorm. That's what it looks like. you have streets and blocks, so you kind of walk down the street and go down a block and go to another dorm where maybe your friend lives. You know, so there's a lot of that. You go up the street, walk down the streets, and go to the different dorms. So in every dorm, there is a officer that controls the dorm, takes care of the dorm, just like on Orange is the New Black. And so they have their shifts, he'll leave, and then another one will come. So depending on where you live and depending on the officer that works inside that particular dorm, yes, they bark, okay? They are mean. Every so often you might run into a nice one, and there are some nice ones, but most of them are mean, crazy, no nonsense whatsoever, and some of them are drunks. These officers and guards are just like us, individuals who got a job and you know, different personalities, just go to work, and depending on how they feeling that day or just who they are, they're just this mean individual. Then yeah, most of them are mean. I mean, sometimes I wonder, do they train these officers to be mean like this? Because some of them are just mean and just bark at you. You better not look at them, or you're walking throughout the yard and, you know, one might say, move out the way, scoot over for no reason, or hey, what are you doing? Or hey, what's in that bag? You know, sometimes they set up searches where you just walk in and there they are. They're just like on the streets on the weekend, they set up these to catch you drunk drivers. Is they set them up, so they set these things up where you walk and they stop you and they search your bags, and they're really mean. So yeah, they bark at you all the time for no reason. You know, if I got yelled and screamed and hollered at, it was because of no reason, just like hey you, sit down, or hey you, move out the way, or hey you know, not because I was doing something wrong. In my dorms, most places where I live, you know, I don't cause problems. You can kind of look at me and tell I'm very wise, very mature, very quiet, very considerate, respectful. And so I didn't get yelled at by the guards a lot. They kind of respect me. I think I got more respect than anything, except for at the county jail. Oh, that was a different story. Okay, so the next question. When they let you out of your cell, did all the doors slide open at the same time? Yes. The doors were not, they didn't slide, except for at the big prison. I always call it the big prison. Yes, the doors did slide, and at a certain hours they push a button, all the doors slide. Yes. At the low level prison, same thing. Oh, yeah, they push the button or whatever, and the doors just unlocked. So they're unlocked, so now you can open the doors. How often were you counted, and what was that like? Oh my God. The worst was at the county jail when they counted us. They counted us. Oh, why do I only remember being counted at night? I don't remember being counted in the morning. I can only remember being counted at night, and that was horrible. We had to be on our bed at a certain time, and they took their time as far as coming around to count us. And at nighttime, I was just always tired and ready to go to sleep because I'm a sleepyhead. And so, you know, you have to lay on your bed. You have to have one arm hanging from the bed. And so they kind of took their time to go around. They wanted us to fall asleep. And you just be laying up there tired because they come around and they'll say your name, and you have to say respond. And a lot of women will fall asleep. So I hated that. But in the prison, oh my God, they would come around. They counted us at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, you had to be in a certain area at a certain time because you had to be counted for. So if you're working, then they're going to count you inside your job. Or if you're at school, they're going to count you at the school. Or if you're not doing anything, then you have to be in your room at 4 o'clock. So they go around and they count at 4. So they just kind of look through the door and count you. At nighttime, they come around and count like at 9, I think it was, and they just want you to, they want to see a part of your body. And so if they're confused or anything, they're not, they want you to move. So they'll flash the flashlight and you had to move a leg, let them know like you didn't set up a dummy or something in the bed, like it's me, so you kind of move your a part of your body. I hated that because I would always fall asleep, and so they would bang on the window, bang, 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 and I'd be like, move a part of my body. But yeah, so they did that at 4 o'clock, and then they did that again at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. For some reason I don't remember being counted in the morning. Yeah, so count time, count time is like serious stuff. For any reason, if, oh my God, how many minutes is this? For any reason, if someone is missing, they do their count and they don't get the number that they're expecting, then they shut the whole prison down. They lock you in. They will sound off their alarm. Then everyone has to go back to where they live, regardless if you're at work or school or whatever. You have to go back to where you live, and then they have to do a count. A lot of the times, women are missing because women are in rooms where they're not supposed to be having sex, or they're always somewhere having sex, and that's why a lot of times the counts go off. And it's funny because at 4 o'clock, if they sound their alarm, the count didn't go off, and it's like everybody go back to their dorm. First they make everybody sit on the ground, sound alarm, you have to sit down on the ground, and then they'll make everybody go back to where they live. They'll say a dorm 1, and then you see people coming out the dorm because you're not supposed to be in other people's dorm. Then you see people coming out the dorm, and it's like the officers looking around like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get you tomorrow. Like, oh, you was in there, you had no business in there. That's when people get caught. And so a lot of the times that's what happens. They finally find somebody is in somebody's room doing something they don't have no business doing, sex. Usually that's what happens. So I hate that. A lot of times it takes forever to find individuals. We're locked in a room forever, is why they're trying to count and try to figure out why we're not getting a count that we're supposed to be getting. And so people get in trouble for that all the time. Okay, it says, were there just women guards in there? Hardly any women guards. Most of the officers are men officers. And the women officers always seem to be worse than the men officers. And the men officers just as mean as the women officers. And most of the men officers are up to no good. They're having sex with the women. I mean, probably 99% of the men officers having sex with the women. So men officers, they like to flirt. They want you to flirt with them. And, really, if you're up to no good, if that's what you're all about, and you could really have your way in prison and get whatever you want. Because if you want some sex, you could really have it. Because the men officers are no good, and the women officers are just mean. So, okay. Could you please explain your routine from when you got up until the lights went out? So, usually work and school is over at 3:30, and so wherever you work, when you leave, they have to search you to make sure that you didn't steal anything, because there's a lot of stealing going on in prison. That's how the women survive. That's part of the daily routine or survival in prison is wherever you work, you're going to steal. If you work in the kitchen, you're going to steal the potatoes to make the hooch, the liquor. You're going to steal that. So after work, you're free, which is 3:30. You're free to do whatever you want, and there are all kind of classes, like recreational classes that they offer, arts and crafts, or a whole bunch of different churches you can go to. Aerobic class you can go to, or just hang out, go to bed. Most women go home, cook dinner, watch TV, go to bed, or go to church.